Welcome, everybody, to one of the absolute worst interview shows of all time. My name is MrCake DragonMan, and I decided that going into trash cans and looking for famous YouTubers is probably one of the worst things to do. So instead, I decided to say, fuck it, I'll go and find an ad on Craigslist or whatever and say, looking for interviews, gone sexual, gone wrong. And then I found this guy over here. Say your name, sir.
I am Tommy C.
Yes, and for those of you who don't know, Tommy C is a podcast host as well as one of the other hosts of the Baited podcast hosted by Keemstar and Colossal is Crazy.
That is correct. That is 100% correct. Very new and so far very successful.
Yeah, a lot more successful than the Garbage podcast.
Well, you have to start somewhere, sir.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Speaking of starts, I would like to just say that people like you and some other people that I know that I've gotten to know that are small YouTubers are big inspirations of mine because of the fact that you're just getting out there and you're just getting more subs and everything, and it's fucking fantastic.
Well, you're telling me. This entire experience has been overwhelming and, dare I say, dreamlike. That may be over-the-top language, but the last 30 days has been nuts. I went from sort of an unemployed soldier that's a stay-at-home dad to somebody who's going to be staying home and potentially doing what I love. Possibly for a living. So it's no one is more shocked than me over the last 30 days.
Yeah, and I really do hope that you gain more subs and you just keep on growing and stuff like that.
You're telling me, pal.
You're a very entertaining person. I just saw your podcast, and you have the voice, and your laugh is fucking contagious. I love it.
I hear a lot of good things of it. It's funny how the thing that got me picked on as a child quite possibly, bring a few shekels into the local bank, which is my laugh, which is quite unusual. I'll be honest. I'm shocked by it sometimes.
All right. So, first of all, you said that you were in you were in the army.
Mm-hmm, that's correct.
What wars did you have to go into battle, or were you just like one of the receptionists or whatever?
You son of a bitch. No, I was I joined the Army in 2004, and I took a job called the 25 uniform. It's kind of a unspecialized IT job where I could do anything from keeping radios updated, making sure that they're encrypted correctly, to Master Sergeant, I fixed your printer. So if it beeped, if it had a keyboard attached to it, if you had to talk on it, it was my responsibility to keep it up and running. If a cable, basically it was a conglomerate of the other MOSs, which is another fancy way to say jobs. And that was basically my responsibility both in garrison and in Iraq. And I did do one 8-month tour in Iraq.
Well, that's pretty good for the boys in green, not boys in blue. Jesus Christ.
Well, technically, we're kind of blue now. They went back to dress blues. But
okay.
To answer your other question before, no, I was never in combat. I did ask to be a part of a MIT team, and I was kindly told that I wasn't cut out for that type of thing, and I don't know what possessed me to do that looking back because, Master Sergeant, your printer is ready to full-scale combat after a 6 or 7 year career probably wasn't the best move, and I think it was... I don't know. Maybe me thinking I'm a bigger badass than I actually was.
Well, yeah, but at least you're safe and you're with your wife and your kid and everything.
I don't care anymore. I was disappointed when they told me no. I don't think about it too much anymore.
That's good. That's good. If it's best you do what you love instead of just going in there and losing an arm and a leg.
Yes, that's good, and I was very fortunate. And I don't know if you're familiar with Dead on Dave, my other podcast partner. He was severely injured after an accident, and he's I hate to use the word crippled, but I don't know I'm not big on political correctness, but I mean he is suffering from injuries. You don't always actually even get him in combat all the time from that he got. So believe me, I know all too well what war can do to you and how it can shape your life in the future.
Well, I sincerely hope he's doing all right and that he's
doing great. He's got
right.
26. I'm just about to pass him in subs, so we're still competitive.
Well, at least he's doing something.
Yeah.
All right, so another few questions I would like to talk to you is, how did you meet Tommy NC?
Tommy NC, I was originally a part of the Joe Cronin show. Joe Cronin does a wrestling show, and he thought of the brilliant idea, why don't I start, and I think only Bruce Bliss was doing it this time, he thought, wouldn't it be smart if I broadcast at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time right after Raw and talked about professional wrestling, right?
Oh my God, you're a wrestling fan. I'm sorry.
Yes, I am wrestling. I'm not
awesome.
as big as I used to be, but Joe had taken. He was a big Boston Bruins fan, and we had. I don't even know if we had 200 subs at the time. I mean, we're talking about 98 or something like that. And he had taken an interest in my show and struck up a relationship with my co-host at the time. And but he was kind of, I don't say floundering, but kind of screwing around with YouTube. And then I think it was SummerSlam in 2013. He just started getting the calls, and it just everything happened, and it was pretty much all uphill from there. And he was kind enough at the time to make me a part of that, and I did sort of bit runs, and then I also did his sort of shock jock Howard Stern program, which was called Monetize This, which I enjoyed much more than I hate to say than even hockey, because I got to be sort of the wacky character that I'd sort of become. I had a lot of more free range, whereas hockey sort of restricted me in some aspects. But that's pretty much how I started. And then through his growth, he was able to help me, and then eventually help Dave as well.
That's pretty good. So another question that I would like to ask is, what's your relationship with Tommy NC?
That's right. You asked me like Tommy NC.
Yeah, I asked about Tommy NC. I was like, did I ask you about that, or did he just?
Yeah. I started thinking. Well, I met. That's why I didn't really answer the goddamn question. So you're not doing a very good interviewing job. You have to keep me in line, sir.
I said I'm not good at this.
You have to keep me in line, sir. All right,
I'm not good at this.
You're absolutely correct. Let's get this straight. All right. I met Tommy NC through the Joe Cronin program, and look, he came on, and Tommy NC is Ratio Gold, and he gave us some really great stuff. But as time went on, and we always had fun with Tommy, but it was never we never abused him, and I started to see the abuse. Kind of his channel was just sort of a place where people went to sort of, I don't know, what did they used to do in the Middle Ages? They'd put you in a rack and they'd like throw tomatoes at you.
Yeah,
that's the way I felt that it was, and I realized, well, that's part of being on YouTube. But slowly but surely, people would attack Tommy, and it would pretty much put me into a flying rage. And so Joe, myself, and Dead on Dave became sort of defenders of Tommy's much before, years before the Leafy incident. So that's why I started my relationship with Tommy. Because here's the thing about Tommy: if you spend time with him, and especially talk to him on the phone, and you just he has an infectious personality, and it's very easy to fall in love with him and want to defend him. And he has this kind of habit of he's sort of like do you ever see those old Police Academy movies?
Yeah.
All right. He's that cop that walks into the room and everything kind of falls apart behind him because everybody's so much in love with him and they so want to defend him so much. Aww. And then he kind of comes in and somebody says something rotten to him, and then everybody just starts fighting fighting, and then he just kind of moves on and forgets the whole thing, and everybody else is left in stitches. So it's that's kind of the way. Somebody said to me once that Tommy is the kindest hurricane you'll ever meet. And he's wonderful, and it doesn't seem to matter. I really hate when people abuse him.
Yeah,
I really do, and it makes me really upset. And I will always defend Tommy, and I owe the Baited podcast indirectly through some happenstance to Tommy.
All right. So from somebody that has autism like myself, I would just like to say that I'm sure Tommy's a great guy. Mm-hmm. And that he's you'll defend him. So obviously this is like the real side of Tommy, not he's just lying about his autism or whatever. Because I can tell when someone's lying. He's obviously not lying about it. I've met other people that are in like Tommy's spectrum or lower, mm-hmm. like that are like in my old high school and middle school and stuff like that. Because like when I was a kid, I was put into the special kids classes and shit.
So was I. Not for
And-
autism, but so was I, because I was bad. But go ahead.
Yeah, but like they put me there because like they thought I was like retarded or something, and then they
You're
found
obviously
out that
not retarded.
Yeah, they found out that I had autism, and then I slowly like developed, and I was like, I can read, I can write, I know what 2 + 2 is, because like there was one day where we were doing this one assignment, and then it was like what's red, what's a apple or whatever the fuck, and I was like, I had this assignment 3 times, I want another assignment, and I went to the teachers, and then I think from there on, I don't remember the details basically, but I think from then on, from 5th grade, I started going to the normal classes with everybody else, and that kind of fucked me. So
Why did that fuck you?
because like I'm so socially awkward when it comes to talking to people, and like
that's
when
that's a little bit of a surprise to me, because you're quite well spoken, and
Thank you.
You have the whole radio. You did that big radio entrance. It doesn't. Do you think it's a little psychological? You think you're not,
maybe
confidence issue?
because it's just like I have in real life. I have a very lack of self-confidence in myself. I don't know how to talk to women. I barely like have any friends in real life that want to hang out with me. And I feel like if I fucking become a success on YouTube or whatever, or just do voice acting or writing, I might turn into this just big fucking macho asshole. And I thank God for the friends that I have on YouTube as well as in real life.
Well, one step at a time, first
Yeah,
of all.
exactly.
Hone your craft the best you can. I'm still doing it. I mean, look, what happened to me was blind luck. I'm not saying that I didn't work hard or do the best on what I did, but let's be honest, there was a lot of blind luck there. But I think worrying about fame and fortune, I think setting a goal and trying to achieve that goal, and whatever you might be doing on YouTube or anything in life, is what you got to concentrate on. Don't worry about all that odds and ends. And when it comes to the girls and the people, sometimes, and I know what it's like to be young, and like if I go up to look, I'm 39, and I go to a bar and I ask a girl, hey, do you want to have a drink with me? And she says, no, thank you. And that's it. That don't bother me. I know that's not the same for 19 or 15, 16, 17, 18, 19
I'm
year
like
old.
20.
It's even at 20, because it and ugly, right? But really the best solution to that problem is to do what Mike Tyson said. He says he lives his life on the edge, and I don't think I'm quoting him exactly, the edge of humiliation. If you think that's what a boxer does, at the end of the day, a boxer could be completely humiliated. He can be another man could beat him unconscious and standing him over him. Now, what does Mike Tyson do? He does comedy. Well, comedy you can bomb, and people don't like what you're saying, and you can be embarrassed, and you can hear the critics. So really, and I think boys in general, whatever your disability may be or not, Nike had it best. You just got to do it. Get in there and do it. And you know what? If you fail, you fail, and you realize it. But if you sit there and you fail and you cry and like, this sucks and girls don't like me, well, you know what? Guess what? That's never going to change. I know guys that are 37, 38 years old that have not changed one bit from high school. So if you're not willing to take a risk, you're not going to get a booby. That's what's most important. So I'd say with social life and girls and things like that, you just got to gamble, and you got to be willing to make mistakes and laugh at yourself and move on. That's my opinion.
Tommy, out of all the guests, this just got the most real. Holy shit.
Yeah, well, I'm a real dude, man. I tell it straight. I am very here's one of the things about getting YouTube famous that I am most interested in, and I don't think I've ever said this on my own show. I love the idea that, and I see Keen go to these things where all these like 15-year-old kids are there to see him. I think that's fucking fascinating. And I know that's like all your fans are 15-year-olds. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. I heard
I don't
you
give a
talk
damn at
about
all.
this in the last podcast that we're
I want to be able to talk to these guys, hopefully with better language in front of their parents.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk to these guys. I've been mentored as a soldier in the Army, and I think I have some stuff to say. And I think men in general are lacking self-confidence. It's hurting them. I think it's hurting women at the end of the day. I don't think there's any guy to go out with anymore because they're all looking at their feet, afraid to be embarrassed. And I would love to be a voice of, confidence and to really give me those 15-year-old boys, because maybe I could talk to them and they'll have that confidence when they're 17, 18 and it's time to date, and they're going to enjoy their lives much more. I wasted a good portion of my teens and 20s being afraid. And I should have joined the Army of 18 instead of 27. and I wouldn't have had that. By the time I got to Germany, you know, my social life was almost out of control. It was so much fun. So, and that's because somebody put their foot in my ass, and you know, I wasn't afraid to be embarrassed anymore because I already got embarrassed in basic training, and I would love to be a part of that. You know, I would love to contribute to the confidence of young guys. That's important to me.
And that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about with this interview. With me, when I do YouTube, things that I would totally love to have, a job as a YouTuber or a voice actor or whatever, or like just in making videos for people and enjoying it, but also just to help the little guy out, just to help the guy with like 10 subs that knows how to fucking edit on Sony Vegas and Adobe Premiere, and that has like the cinematography of a fucking god, of fucking Martin Scorsese type cinematography, yet they have like 10 subscribers. Fuck that shit. I want to help this guy out because of the fact that he has a lot of talent, he has a gift, and not a lot of people see it. So like if I were to be super big YouTube man, I would definitely like just put them in a pedestal instead of just myself.
What I want to do exactly the same thing, especially for some of the YouTubers that I just mentioned. I have a whole team. It's not shot from the point. It's not shot from Tommy C. It's shot from the point. It's a team. It's a team effort. I don't pay those guys. Certainly, if I'm able to grasp some kind of success with the Baited podcast, I want to spread that around. And I think that would be the best payment. I would warn other YouTubers, if you do connect with somebody that has 30, 40, 50,000 subs, just because you're going on there, just because he's saying your name, that might only be worth a couple hundred subs, or maybe 10 or 5. I think the important thing is just to keep at it and never I went on my friend's channel that has 10, 20,000, and he promoted the shit of me. I only got 5 subs or 2 subs.
Yeah, that's
grind. I've been doing that pretty much up until a month ago. Grind it, keep doing it, and I put myself in a position where somebody noticed me, and I did the best I could. I didn't know anybody in the upper ranks of YouTube. I didn't know how to. I watched a lot of YouTube. I read a lot about it, and I was like, how can I look good? What is going to make people want to click on this and then listen to me talk? And that's keep it simple, stupid, but don't network, but don't rely on it, and don't get mad at the person that's helping you, because it might not. Like, a lot of people think like, well, Keemstar said your name. Well, it doesn't mean I'm getting 1 million subs.
Exactly.
You know,
just because of the fact that someone says your name.
Sure. Keem's had to. I'll give you an exact number right now. I'm up from when this all started, because it's about 28 days ago. As of now, 618 subs. All right. I've been on the Baited podcast. It's like anywhere from 15th to 18th in the world, depending on what a chart you go to. Keem has mentioned me in tweets several times. He's mentioned me on 2 separate drama alerts. That was 600. This guy's got 1 million subs. So I guess what I'm saying to those guys, when you work with those bigger guys, don't get mad at them if it doesn't turn around, and don't get mad at yourself.
Like a thing that I would like to reference really quick is I did my top 6 underrated YouTubers with Shima Luan from Superplant Dolan. She has over 90,000 subscribers, and from that video alone, I have gained like 1,000 subs. I'm at 2,500 right now, and like that isn't like constant. That's not a constant thing. And
no. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like, they're gonna expect for me to just keep doing videos with Shima or whatever, and I'm just like, no, I'm just gonna do shit by myself for a bit, and then when I want to collaborate with somebody, like a friend or something, or another YouTuber that I know that would want to collab, then I would.
I think that's the best way to do it. I mean, I can only speak from my experience, and my experience is unique. Just grind it. I used to come back after a show, and this seems laughable to people that don't have YouTube channels and don't put out content. Hey guys, we just did an 1.5 hour podcast. We picked up 3 subs. Yeah, all high fives all around. That's the way I see it. Whatever we can get, Yeah. And obviously, PewDiePie's mentioned the titling is probably more important than content, which is unfortunate, but it's true.
It is.
And I'm not telling anybody to break the guidelines or anything like that, but I think you should walk up right to the door and bend the rules. I'm an American. You bend the rules. You don't break them. You bend them. And, stay within the rules of YouTube. But if you want to get a little tricky, but without being misleading, then do it. then do it. I'm not going to say how to do that. I'm not saying that I do that, but I think a lot of the great YouTubers benefited from rules that weren't there at the time that were eventually changed. So do what you got to do and take every angle that you can. Don't break the rules, but walk up right to the door with everything you do to breaking the rules. And that's the way I've always operated, and that's the way I will continue to operate.
All right, we have a few. We got like 10 minutes, I believe, of the podcast of the interview left, and I would just like to ask you a few more questions.
Sure.
How did the Baited podcast start?
From Colossal's perspective, there was some kind of doxing incident where Colossal was kind of calling Keem out. Keem sort of threatened to dox him, which is terrible. It's wrong. And somehow, and I don't know all the details, I'll have to ask him one day, they sort of forged a friendship and wanted to do a podcast. My interaction with Keem was also sort of contentious. He had run a story about Tommy NC 2 months after the Leafy incident, and it smelled to me, and it still smells to this day, that it was possibly encouraged by Leafy himself. They seem to, and I don't know this for a fact, so I'm saying they seem to, after they went around flying on fucking helicopters, come up with the idea that Tommy is faking the whole thing. He's a mastermind, and that sort of corresponded with a 6,000 sub loss, which I think was in the top 10, and Keem ran a story on it. And then my initial idea, because Tommy was panicking, was to drive the attention away, and I made this quick video on Twitter where I went back at Keem, and Keem went back at me, and I went back at him. I don't even remember what anybody said, but I do remember being told that I look like a cracked out Vince Vaughn.
Oh, fuck.
Which I still get in the chat. Actually, I don't know that he's wrong. But, he's saying I look like Vince Vaughn. I mean, how big is that? Guy's a big movie star. But, yeah, that's how we did. And I also, God, you know what? This has only happened like 30 days, 40 days ago, and I've also shut a lot of this out of my mind because I was so angry at Keem at the time. Instead of doing a hockey show, I talked about it. I told him, I basically poked holes in some of Keem's argument. Keem seemed to up the ante, and he invited Tommy on for Drama Alert, Drama Alert. I hate when people say Drama Alert.
Yeah.
I've been around Keem too much. I hate Drama Alert. Keem says it makes me nuts, but it's Drama Alert. And I begged, I said, look, I put this guy on his heels. He's distracted with me now. Don't go. I told Tommy, don't go on Drama Alert if you don't want the negativity. If you want the negativity, go on there. If you don't. Just let it go, and we'll just kind of exchange punches, and he'll get sick of it. I think that was at least my strategy at the time. So Tommy took my advice. No, wait a minute, he didn't take my advice, and he went on Drama Alert. And that made me upset. And I did an entire podcast about Keem where I really ripped him, and I was really upset because I don't think it was necessary to run that story. I think it had more to do with revenge or maybe even helping a friend out. But at least at the time, I thought that. But I've since come to learn it's a mix. It was a legitimate news story. Tommy's sub loss was a legitimate news story. I do believe that now. I also believe, without a doubt, that Keem really believed that Tommy was pulling the wool over everyone's eyes. I do believe that now.
A lot of people did. Is Tommy? Real quick question: is Tommy doing okay now with his?
Tommy's doing fine.
All
Tommy's doing just fine. Yeah, good. Tommy's doing just fine. But look, I judge everybody a little different, and I don't know. I don't look. I'm not a doctor. I don't know where on the autism spectrum he is, or way to judge it. But I don't like people picking on my friends, and maybe it makes me a little bit of a hypocrite because I don't go white knighting for every autistic kid. Exactly. But you know what? That's my autistic kid friend. So I'm going to stick up for him. I've done it before. I'd do it again. And Keem called into my podcast where I was really taking him apart, and we got in a fight. I don't remember anything because I've never watched it since. Shortly after, he approached me for a podcast where he told me that I could basically come at him like that, which has never happened. because ever since that day, I haven't been angry about anything because things have been pretty good for me, which, I don't know, may change. And Tommy gave me his blessing, and he's rooting for me, which just makes me feel fucking fantastic. And this whole thing has just been, like I said, dreamlike. And I like to think that it came because I was doing a good thing, that I got, I'm not a religious person. I don't believe in karma, but it sort of does feel like that, I went to bat for this guy a few times and I got a weird break, just kind of bizarre break out of it. That's the way I see it. But Tommy gave me his blessing, and I don't know if I could have done it without him. If he hadn't done that, it would definitely have been difficult to do. It might have made me depressed, come to think of it. But he's been really supportive, and I think the Baited podcast, I think Keem has picked the right people, and I think it's going to be a big success. And I think it's just kind of weird. I've never even watched the argument I've had with Keem, which is pretty vicious. It's still up, but I've never actually watched my podcast over because I sort of feel so weird speaking that way. You have to piss me off to say those things. You really have to. Yeah, I'm a counter-attacker. I'm not an attacker. I could never do what these guys like Leafy do, just pick some guy off the internet and just shred him. That's not But if you tick me off, I could be worse than any YouTuber and better at it because I get pretty good reads on people and I know where your weak spots are. And it's weird to watch that now and sort of hear myself speak to him that way when he's been so kind, and he gave me an opportunity of a lifetime. So it's tough for me to hear that now. So, but I don't take anything I said back. I think that he had the best intentions to stick up for his friend. Of course, he's never told me he was running an article to stick up for Leafy. And then shortly after, Leafy stabbed Keem in the back, and then I started to feel whereas the things I didn't like about Keem, I was like, well, yeah, now he's sort of a victim of this bullshit now, and I very quickly, for somebody who looked out for me and tried to help me, I very quickly fell in a Keem defender role. Whether Keem deserved it or not, that's up to you to decide.
Yeah, and the thing is, with me and my relationship with... I don't have a relationship with Keemstar. Keemstar doesn't even know he fucking exists. But...
he does now!
Jesus. The thing is, Papa Keem, don't attack me for this, what I'm about to say. But personally, the character of Keemstar seems like an alright guy. But the thing is, with me, I can't respect someone for the things that he's done in the past. But maybe if he was to change, and he has been doing a lot of changing, he has been doing a lot of good things, I can give him, just another, okay, he's a good guy. He's trying his best to be a good guy, and that's all I can give for him.
Well, Keem's a flawed individual, and so am I. I mean, I've been arrested before. I've gotten in trouble before. I've probably done a lot worse things that Keem have done in my life.
Yeah.
I never said the N-word like he did, but at least not when it was being recorded. But no, I think from what I can see, he's highly competitive, highly motivated. He's a winner. And I think, remember I was talking to you before about walking up to the door and just sort of bending? I think sometimes he steps over it. And I think it's not for the worst reasons. Like, let's say my theory's right about Leafy and Keem, right? Let's pretend, okay, that it was sort of to get him back for pulling the wolves. He was doing it because he's trying. In a twisted way, he was doing it to help his friend out. He was trying to help Leafy. Obviously, Leafy wasn't much of a friend to him, And now he claims that Keem has simply nothing to do with his rise in popularity, which of course is ridiculous. Same thing with Grade.
Before we get on, I would like to ask another question about Leafy.
Sure.
This and one more. Don't worry. We'll get out of this in a bit.
You can hit me with anything you want.
All right. So, recently, someone named Elvis the Alien had
Correct.
Recently been getting fucked with by... With I don't know if you know his content or
yes.
you've seen his stuff.
Yes, and I'm familiar with this video, too.
Yeah, Leafy basically came onto the video and said he was going to talk about the bullshit that his fans have been doing. Do you think you've earned some respect for Leafy.
Yes.
For
yes.
that.
And I think I mentioned it, I think, in today's podcast, and I am going to make sure that it gets on the Baited podcast. Whatever I feel about Leafy, and I do think he's petty.
He's kind of an untalented cunt in my eyes.
I don't know.
That motherfucker doesn't edit. Fuck him. I'm sorry for the people that are friends with him, but
Leafy's whatever his comedic or talent lacks, he connects.
Exactly.
And sometimes that's all you know. He connects with kids that and maybe those kids we were talking about before, those males that we were talking about before that don't have that confidence. Leafy doesn't give a fuck, and he spits it and lets it sit. And that, I think, itself is commendable. But I do when I think there's targets there that are unacceptable. Just to make it short. That being said, what Leafy did and other famous YouTubers did for Elvis the Alien it took my breath away. And I want to talk about this on Baited. Whatever petty arguments that we might have or how we feel about each other's character, absolutely a situation, and I can commend Leafy for going on there and basically speaking out against his own fan base. And because fair use, free speech, and this platform continuing to be a platform for free speech and fair use is imperative. So whatever Keem's issues with Leafy or mine, I've never met the guy. I'm a critic.
Yeah, same here.
I criticize. I don't know the guy. I'm a critic. I don't particularly like some of the choices that he's made. Whatever, but I'll absolutely commend him for doing that because it needs to be done. And I certainly wouldn't say that he hasn't earned what he has. I wouldn't go that far. I think Leafy, because he is a social commentator and he makes fun of a lot of people and he kind of at a lot of people's expense. I think Leafy's more than game in the same way. But I think that maybe the Baited podcast, we have to review this Elvis the Alien video, and we have to, without a doubt, bring fair use and community guidelines abuses, which I've been a victim of recently, and free speech to the forefront, because my biggest fear is if we lose fair use, not just on YouTube but just in general, we cannot hold our leaders accountable for anything if you really think about it. And any petty bullshit, you talk shit behind my back, you were mean, you're a pedophile, all this other fucking bullshit, we got to put that shit aside.
Yeah.
We got to put that shit aside for fair use. Yeah.
And I honestly do think that, like, for instance, I was originally going to be making a video on Elvis, and I was just putting for instance, really quick, the Ruby fandom. It's a show on Rooster Teeth. Fucking cancer, complete SJW cancer all the way. And I have friends in the Ruby fandom, and I want to get a job at Rooster Teeth one day. But the thing is, what if I were to make a video, just satirically shit talking on those people in a commentary video, saying that Yang and Blake will never be together because they're straight or some other dumb bullshit like that. The SJW Ruby fan base might get mad, go to my channel, and flag me. And that is something that
here's
I
the thing.
fear.
Here's the thing. You don't mess with SJWs. They're Marxist.
Yeah.
They're sick, twisted, totalitarian Marxists. Look, I had nuts when I was growing up in college too. But these people are to be avoided at all costs and challenged. So, to take on the SJWs, these wackos, these religious wackos in a lot of ways, because they do seem to have their saints and their customs and their rituals, and they behave as if their ideology is infinitely superior and cannot be questioned. Sort of I don't know, God. No, I think you fight them and then you risk your channel. Yeah, because if and I think there's been a lot of victories against SJWs on YouTube, and if you're worried about pissing off a fan base or a group of people that you want to be a part of, well, maybe you want to reevaluate being a part of them and anything. I'm a libertarian. I have friends that are Republicans. I have friends that are liberals or classical liberals. I think I can, at this point in my life, I could have a friendship with somebody that's a socialist or a Marxist, but as long as they're civil and they're critical thinking. SJWs I consider like, do you want to hang out with the Ku Klux Klansmen?
No,
I mean,
God.
neither
Not
do I.
all
So
SJWs are bad, just the really cancerous ones.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have yet to see the SJW that isn't bad. If there's one that wants to come on my show and tell me how this ideology is helping humanity and not crushing free speech and free thought and just making everybody in touch of Victorian uptight losers, making boys pussies. Not talk. Nobody wants to talk to a girl. You're gonna go to class.
You got cooties.
Yeah. Nobody wants to talk to a girl. Yeah, guess what, girls? You're gonna go to college. You're gonna get a good degree. You're gonna have it. Like, hey, where are all the men out here that make as much money as I do? Where are they? No. The SJWs made them all a bunch of candy asses. They're playing H1Z1, drinking Mountain Dew, and gaining weight.
Jesus Christ.
You don't want, so they're ruining it for men and they're ruining for women. Modern feminism is garbage. My mother was a feminist, and these people aren't. They're totalitarians, and they're essentially, really, if you want to go back in the history books, they're Marxist, and they're to be avoided like Klansmen. And look, I would not want to be a part of a group that you would be afraid that could turn on you. I'm sorry. I wouldn't do it. I remember going to shows when I was a kid in Asbury Park, New Jersey, and there was these skinheads around. Man, I had nothing to do with them, man. They'd turn on you in a heartbeat. They didn't think you were as racist as they were. They'd beat you to death. I ain't hanging out with people like that. With HJWs, if you don't think you're as woke as they are, they might ruin your life. What's the difference? Nothing. It's just at different ends of the spectrum. That's all I got to say about that.
I will end the interview with this one last question, and
Sure.
then we'll say our goodbyes. About the Baited podcast and about your channel in general. One,
Sure.
Would you ever consider doing some other type of content other than just your hockey podcasts?
I think I'm doing it now. And then what was the other? I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
Yeah, it's fine.
Go ahead.
It's fine.
I do.
Colossal's right. You are too kind to other people. You're too generous.
Yeah, I suppose. But go ahead. No, keep going.
And the second question: will there be guests in the Baited podcast?
I don't know if I can answer the second one. Honestly,
Okay.
I would if I could. I honestly don't know about that. I can't answer that. I think the podcast is so new that we're still filling each other out, and we're trying to figure out a best way to bring the best possible entertainment to people who like YouTube news and drama. I hate the fucking drama word, but so I can't answer that.
Okay.
And I'm low kid on the totem pole here. I'm like Ringo and the Beatles. I'm just keeping that beat the best I can,
Yeah.
Hey, John. Hey, Paul. I'm just hitting the drum set here. No, I don't. I don't know. And I'm obviously I'm very happy to be involved with the whole thing, and just want to know where I stand. The first question was
what would you ever consider doing other type of content for your channel other than
I think I already have. And I'm glad you asked me that. The thing is, I do a hockey pod. First of all, in October of this year, I decided to change Shot from the Point Live, my baby, to sort of a mix between pop culture and hockey. It's basically become news, drama, and hockey, and that's our Sunday hour and a half podcast. And since the hockey season has ended, I replaced my show In the Crease with Tommy C, which is a Monday through Thursday, 9:30 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. I did a show called In the Crease with Tommy C, Monday through Thursday, and I did about a half an hour of hockey every night. And when the season is over, I switched that with the YouTube drama and news podcast daily, live, take phone calls with something called Shot from the Point Dead.
Yeah, and I tried to call you today, and you just said you were out of time. I was like, fuck.
Sorry about that. But you can call back anytime, especially that you gave me an interview.
Of course. And this interview will probably come out somewhere in December.
It's going to come out quick. So I did Shot from the Point Dead, but obviously Shot from the Point Dead's doing a little... It's a little more interesting. I have done things like movie reviews and stuff like that. I think Shot from the Point is more of a brand than it is hockey. I think it works well with drama. I think it works well with hockey. I'm never going to leave hockey. Obviously, that's like my thing, my theme, maybe my image, so to speak. But I may do separate videos, especially if I have the time. Just the regular 10-minute. I'm beating the idea of doing commentaries over NHL 94 and Genesis. I think that would be funny, right?
All right. If you're going to do commentaries, remember, Adobe Premiere and Sony Vegas are your friends for editing.
I don't have Sogi Video. I have something else, but I'm not really worried about that because I know my way around this one editing program I have. But yeah, I got to get Sony Vegas. How much is Sony Vegas anyway?
It's like, I believe, like $70 or $200, somewhere in between that price.
Well, I got Keemstar money coming in, so maybe I'll.
All right, everyone.
I'm not YouTube famous. I'm Keemstar famous. Yes, I got shot from the point dead. So what's going to happen when the hockey season starts again? And it's going to start early because we have the World Cup. I will be doing 9:30 in the crease, doing that for half an hour, and then 3:30 Eastern time I'll be doing in the crease, and then 4:30 Eastern time I'll be doing dead. So the channel right now, as far as live podcasts are concerned, we're going to be covering it all. I may do separate videos. I may do commentary videos. Who knows? Maybe I'll make a friend over here and we'll do a dumb skit. Hell, maybe I'll start faking pranks. How do you think of that? I am going to fake pranks.
That's
you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to some German baker and set the fucking place on fire.
and then the German baker.
Oh, look. Oh, my bread is on fire. Oh, well, there, Hans. That's what I'm going to do. That's what to look forward to on Shot from the Point.
It's just a prank, bro.
It's just a prank, bro. Oh, it's so funny. Oh, when did you think of this prank? Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. That's the plan, man.
All right, everyone. We are out of time for today's episode. Usually they go longer, but we're both busy men, and hopefully when if this video comes out, because
better be recording.
My interview schedule is fucked, Tommy. Give me a break here. I'm only 20 and I don't know what I'm doing with my life. So anyway, that is this episode of the interviewing thingamajigs. Thank you very much, Tommy, for joining me.
Thank you.
And
Thank you very much.
Hopefully all of you have enjoyed this and will stick around for more episodes of that, plus YouTube poops and reviews. And I will be seeing you guys next time. Take care.